Well, let me just ask you straight out. Did you kill Irene Garza?
No.
Do you know who did?
No.
You won't tell me anything?
Get lost, brother.
For almost 40 years, Richard Schlesinger has made every minute of airtime count.
I'm sorry, you said what?
He said, I will put you in the grinder.
In a meat grinder?
Yeah.
He claimed that they tried to do an exorcism on him.
I'm sorry, did you say an exorcism?
Yes.
I know that you're a politician and not a priest, but did he seem in need of an exorcism?
With a glance,
I'm just going to ask you just a couple of questions.
a simple question,
What do you think of her?
You really want me to answer that?
I'd like to.
I think she's the worst thing that ever was born in the United States of America.
he pulls us in.
A good percentage of the stab wounds on the back were all post-mortem.
After he was dead?
Yeah, after he was dead. I want to make sure you're dead, absolutely dead, completely and utterly dead.
And every Richard moment is in service to the story. He has a signature style and a distinctive way with words. Listen to him here.
The story of Carol's life with Don Lewis, like so many Florida stories, begins like a pulp fiction novel any reputable publisher would reject.
Schlesinger joined CBS News in 1984.
Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Bal Harbor, Florida.
He worked in Latin America.
The Nicaraguan government says the Contras are stronger than they say.
He was an occasional anchor,
Protesters at the final session of the AIDS conference.
an investigative reporter for the evening news.
Why wouldn't the FAA install the Air Force system or something like it at commercial airports?
He was witness to some of the most important world events. The fall of the Berlin Wall,
The party is over, and a new reality is beginning to set in.
9/11,
When the World Trade Center was brought to the ground, the country was brought to its knees.
the War on Terror.
Take a look around. They've used helicopters, armored vehicles.
He has a shelf full of honors, including 10 Emmys and 2 Alfred I. DuPont Columbia University Awards, including one for this story. CBS reports entered the jury room. It marked the first time network television cameras were given access to jury deliberations.
He just doesn't think she should get more than him.
There wasn't a story Richard couldn't tell.
In this area alone, there are 6,300 pipes.
And CBS Sunday Morning showed his range.
About 550 cats have been adopted from here.
From Yiddish
Who hasn't schlepped to the store or fetched about the traffic?
to dishing with Liza Minnelli.
This is being called your comeback.
Yes, I've come back, honey. I have crawled back here.
He brought out the best in people and sometimes the unexpected.
Mrs. Marcos, what do you feel about the verdict?
Like this moment with the former First Lady of the Philippines, Imelda Marcos.
I have been living in welfare.
This is welfare.
Through it all, you'd most often find Richard on 48 Hours.
If I strangle you, for instance, like we do this one.
Yeah.
But this is a very logical reaction. I do this. What do you do?
I go like this.
Exactly.
That's what you think happened.
Richard didn't need to say much to make a point.
It's critical that this go off without a hitch.
Well, it is. We want things to go not necessarily strictly by the numbers, but within reason, a smooth delivery of service.
So, smooth delivery of service.
Smooth delivery of service.
One story that meant a lot to him was the case of Irene Garza, a young woman from McAllen, Texas, murdered in 1960.
And you're going to find out that the man who did this is John Fife.
The main suspect was a priest.
They had a pretty good case against him. Why wasn't he arrested?
He was protected
By?
by the hierarchy of the Catholic Church.
Well, Dale Tashney says that you told him that you did kill him.
full of
I'm sorry?
Dale is full of
And there was his reporting on the case of Anthony Graves.
In Somerville, Texas, nothing moves very swiftly, except for the occasional freight train and sometimes the desire for justice.
Graves was wrongfully imprisoned for 18 years. He spent most of that time on death row.
This is my life. This is my life.
In this fire-gutted house, firefighters found 6 bodies.
It's probably the most brutal crime that ever happened in that part of the state.
They said I did it.
And did you?
No.
No motive, no reason, no connection, nothing.
Richard was there when Graves was released from custody.
This is probably the dumbest question I've ever asked, but I got to ask you anyway.
Well, ask away. Come on.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel good.
Yeah, I'll bet you do, sir.
I feel good.
Richard's reporting helped Anthony Graves in his fight to be compensated for all those lost years.
And his first stop is home. To his sons who had grown up without him, and at long last, to an embrace with his mother.
Richard is most proud of the Emmy he won for that story.
When was the last time you were able to put your arm around your mother?
18 years ago.
You haven't touched your son
No.
in 18 years.
18 years ago.
And no tribute would be complete without a mention of Richard's true love, flying.
Station 1 squared for takeoff.
That's Richard with the Air National Guard on patrol over New York City after 9/11. A few years later, he got his private license.
29.
And he found a way to combine his flying skills with his reporting as he probed another mystery.
First of all, imagine the struggle involved in strangling a 170-pound man in this passenger seat. Then, if the plan was to push him out the door, that's a challenge.
And Richard's life has been full of other adventures, too.
This is where it happened, on a quiet country road in Cornwall, Connecticut. I think right around here is where I dropped.
In June 2021, Richard almost retired in a very permanent sense. He went into cardiac arrest. Local volunteers, all of them his neighbors in Connecticut, were able to bring him back.
One moment I'm walking, the next moment I'm in Hartford Hospital.
Richard has recovered beautifully with the help of his partner John Gunther and their trusty dogs, Cyrus and Gus, which brings us to dogs. Did we mention how much Richard loves dogs?
All this work, hours of grooming, just to impress one person, the judge.
What do you want to avoid in a dog show? What don't you want to happen if you're handling one of these dogs?
Don't want the dog to bite the judge.
Number one rule, don't bite the judge.
As Richard steps back from work, he'll be spending more time volunteering for the local animal shelter. In life, just like every story he's done, Richard never misses the chance for the perfect ending.
Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Lafayette, Colorado. Stanhope, New Jersey. Philadelphia. West Berlin. Managua. Boston. New York.